Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. I'm going to break down and show you how to play note for note that version of Amazing Grace. This is a great lesson if you're a beginner and new to fingerstyle. This would be a great way to learn to play fingerstyle guitar. So let's break it down note for note. Oh, and if you want to download the tablature for this, you can download it at www.activemelody.com. Alright, so we're going to take a look at, this is my own arrangement of Amazing Grace. I wanted to create a version of this that would work on an acoustic or an electric guitar, and something that you could do by yourself with no accompaniment. Also, this is something that if you're a beginner fingerstyle player, this would be a great way to jump into this. I'm not using a pick with the right hand. That's something important to point out. So when you play fingerstyle, you don't use a pick. You put your fingers on the strings and they do all the work individually. And it's actually nice because it gives you a lot of variables. With a pick, you can really only kind of do one string at a time, you know, outside of strumming. But when your fingers are on the strings, you can play multiple strings at once. And what you do, the technique is to put your finger down and to pull it off, and to pluck it. So we'll get into that in a minute. The guitar that I'm using is an old Gibson. It's a 1919 guitar. Very cool. It's got a lot of character. This is a similar guitar to, same model I guess, as the one that Robert Johnson played on. Although this one is an arch top. You can see that in the light. And Robert Johnson's was not an arch top. At least the one that's in some of the old photographs. The only two photographs, I think, or two or three that exist of him anyway. So anyway, so this guitar is actually older than his, believe it or not. But a cool guitar. Not the greatest playing guitar, but it sounds really good. So this song, or this arrangement of the song, is in the key of C. And the first thing that happens is I start right into the melody with this. Now, what I'm doing there is I'm just playing a C chord, C shape with my left hand. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's a ring finger on the third fret, fifth string, middle finger on the second fret, fourth string, sorry, and then pointer finger on the first fret, second string. So that's a C chord. So you want to hold that shape because a lot of what happens here at the beginning is around that shape. But the first thing that I do is I play this. And what I'm doing there is I take that C chord, I start there, that's our home base, but then I keep my pointer finger and my ring finger down, but I remove my middle finger so that I can hammer on to the second fret, third string, just like that. And what I'm doing is I'm playing an open, that's actually an open string, the first part of it is, and then I'm hammering on, like I said, to the second fret, third string with my middle finger. I'm doing that with my right hand with my middle finger. I'm using my middle finger to pluck that string. So if you're new to fingerstyle, what you're doing is you're putting your finger kind of in the string, kind of in between the strings really, and you're pulling and to get a little pluck. Don't pull it too hard, but just enough. Now my fingernails are a little bit longer on my right hand, but that doesn't mean that you can't play fingerstyle. There's a lot of great fingerstyle players that don't grow their fingernails out like that. So you don't have to do that. So after that, then what I do is I hit this octave thing where it's an octave of a C, a high C and a low C. And all I'm doing is I'm playing strings 2 and 5. Again, keeping the C shape down here. So I'm putting, if you'll look with my right hand, I got my thumb on the 5th string and my ring finger on the 2nd string. And I plug them at the same time. So it should sound just like that. So all together it sounds like this. Okay? Now as soon as I do that, my middle finger goes right back to where it should be to make that C chord so that I can play this. So all together that sounds like this. Okay? Now, when I put my ring finger back in place, what I'm doing on my right hand is I'm playing strings 4 and 3. 4, 3, 4. And I'm using my pointer finger, middle finger, pointer finger to do that. 4, 3, 4. So it's okay. Now the next thing that happens is, and for that, what I'm doing is I'm taking my pinky. Again, notice my left hand, it pretty much stays in that C shape, which is nice. But I go up to the first string and I play the first string, which is just an open E string there. And I use my ring finger for that. And then I come down to the second string, 3rd fret, and I push that down with my pinky, still holding the C shape with the other fingers, so that I can, when I play with my pinky, I can play it and then do a pull off, so it sounds like this. So all together it sounds like this. Notice with the right hand, I'm just using my ring finger for both of those. So I'm going string 1 and then string 2. So that together sounds like this. And then I come back and I play this, which is similar to what we did before when we played strings 2 and 5 at the same time. This time we're playing 1 and 5. So we're playing strings 1 and 5. Just like that. And again, the left hand is just making a C chord. So that's what we got. Now, after I play that, my pinky comes down to the 3rd fret, 3rd string, and pushes down to make a C 7th chord. So that when I do that 4, 3, 4, remember before we went 4, 3, 4 with our index finger, middle finger, and index finger, so you go like. This time when you do it, since I'm pushing down with my pinky there to make a C 7th chord, it sounds like this. And so when you hear it in context, it sounds right, because you'll go. And anytime you hear a 7th chord is almost like, I think of it as like a transition chord. It's like a bridge chord. It's getting you from, so if I'm ever playing something in C, and I know I'm about to go to F, you can always jump and throw in a C7, and it makes that transition to the F, just feel better, or it sounds better anyway. It doesn't always work, but that's kind of how I think of a 7th chord. And obviously they're used a lot in blues and other things, but okay. Now after that. I take my pinky and I put it back to the 3rd fret, but this time I'm on the 2nd string to create that note. Okay? So all together this sounds like this. And you can see there's not a lot of action going on here with the right or with the left hand. It's kind of holding that C. Now, after that, now we're going to switch to the F. And I'd play a full F with a bar. This is a bar chord. So essentially what I'm doing, I'm barring the 1st fret with my pointer finger, and I'm pushing down on the 2nd fret, 3rd string with my middle finger, the 3rd fret, 4th string with my pinky, and the 3rd fret, 5th string with my ring finger. And so that gives me a full, and then I bar there on the 1st fret. Now if you've got a guitar with poor action, action is the distance, kind of the how far the strings are from the neck. This would be a challenge to play an F like that. And even on this old guitar, it's not easy. I really have to kind of use some muscles that I wouldn't normally have to use. So after that, we come to the F, and I go. So I'm just making the F chord, and with the right hand, I'm playing strings 2 and 6. And I'm using, again, thumb and ring finger to do that. And so that's the F part. And after that I play. Remember before we played to to create the little rhythm part, we played strings 4, 3, 4. This time we're going to play strings 5, 4, 5. Again, you're doing it with your pointer finger, middle finger, pointer finger. And that's always, you're going to notice that I kind of incorporated that little rhythm part throughout. And that's kind of, in essence, I think of that as the rhythm. So the lead, if you will, is, that's the lead. The rhythm is, so if you were to just strip out that piece of it, that's kind of what that is. So when you come to the F, you've got, and then I do this little hammer-on thing like this. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking that same F, the F chord, and I'm lifting my middle finger up and I'm hammering it back down. And I'm playing strings 4 and 3 with my right hand. I'm plucking those two strings like this. So when I pluck them, it's as soon as I pluck them, I hammer on with my middle finger there to complete that F chord. So it sounds like this. And then quickly I switch back to the C to play that part of it. And when I go to the C, I'm playing the strings 3 and 5, playing them at the same time with my right hand. And then I'm going to do the little melody thing, which is strings 4, 3, 4. So, like that. So all together it sounds like this. Now it just repeats what we did from the beginning. That part of it. But when you get to here, I play that part. So from here, I put my pinky down again on the 3rd fret 2nd string, which we've already done. Then I'm going to play that 1st string open. It's just an open E. So then we come to the G part, which sounds like this. And the way that I'm going to make a G in this, which is a little different than maybe some of you are used to making a G, is I'm going to use my pinky on the 3rd fret 1st string, my ring finger on the 3rd fret 6th string, and my middle finger on the 2nd fret 5th string, so that our pointer finger is actually not on the fretboard to make the chord. And the first thing I do is I pluck these two, which is strings 1 and 6. I'm plucking them at the same time. Then I'd play this little thing. And to do that all happens within the G chord. I'm using my pointer finger on string 4, my middle finger on string 3, pointer finger back on string 4. Now we're going to take my ring finger and go up here to string 2. But as soon as I do that, that's where I'm going to push down with my pointer finger on my left hand. I'm going to push down on the 1st fret 2nd string to create that note. So all together, or slowly, this is what that part sounds like. So after you push that down, you're going to come back to string 4, and then you're going to release it on the 2nd fret. So you're going to play strings 2, 3, and 4. So pushing it down, 1st fret, 2nd string. Okay, so slowly, that G part sounds like this. Okay, so let's back up. We'll play the whole thing. I'll play it slowly to put it all into context. So it should sound like this. there's the G. Now after that, I go, and all I'm doing there is, again, another reason why we're playing the G with our pinky here, because it's easy to switch right back to the C chord. So what I'm doing there is I'm going 3rd fret, 1st string, open, that's open 1st string. So the pinky goes back down. So it starts there on the 3rd fret, 1st string, release it, and then back to the 3rd fret, 1st string, and then you're in place to play the C chord. This time, however, when you're playing the C chord, you're leaving your pinky down on the 3rd fret, 1st string. So it's, and what I'm doing when I'm playing with my right hand is I'm plucking strings 5, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm plucking them kind of like this. And you don't have to do it like that. You could play it all at the same time like this. Okay. Now this is just back to what we've already done. There's the C7th. Put your pinky back on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. And now we're going to go back to the F part. Exactly the same. Now this part is different because we're going to go to an A minor chord. And for that, we're just going to play an A minor chord. That's my pointer finger down on the 1st fret, 2nd string. My ring finger is down on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, and my middle finger is down on the 2nd fret, 4th string. And what I'm playing with the right hand is I'm plucking strings 2 and 5, and then I'm going to do the little pointer finger, middle finger, pointer finger rhythm pattern with the right hand, which will be strings 4, 3, and 4. So it's within the A minor chord. Obviously, you can see with the left hand, you're just holding the one chord. This is the nice thing about fingerstyle playing is the left hand gets to sort of take the back seat a little bit. The right hand has to do a lot of the work. And now we're going to do that little hammer off, or I'm sorry, that little pull off thing again. And again, that's playing the open string, the open 1st string. Then I'm going to push down on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and I'm going to flick it off with my pinky. I do that with my pinky. So I'm just doing a pull off. So you play it once, and then when you release your pinky from the string, you kind of flick it a little bit to get that pull off. And I'm doing both of those with my ring finger on my right hand. So then I come to this part. And all I'm doing there is, it's actually a G7th chord. It's kind of a cool way to do it. I'm just playing strings. I'm putting my middle finger down on the 3rd fret, 6th string, and my ring finger down on the 3rd fret, 4th string. So I'm playing, when I first start that, I'm playing strings 1 and 6. Again, thumb, ring finger with the right hand. You can see I'm plucking those two. And then I'm going to take my thumb and come up here to the 4th string, holding that shape here with the left hand. So I'm going to go. So it's thumb, index, ring. Then I'm going to take my pinky, push it out, down again, 2nd fret, 3rd string. We've done that a lot with the pinky. And then back to the C. And that's really the end of it. And I did this little, in the tab, I put in this little bit that goes. So I'm just playing a C, and then again, I'm just picking the notes apart. So it's strings 4, 3, 2. And then I did this thing here where I'm only playing the, I'm putting my ring finger down on the 3rd fret, 4th string, and I go. So it gives you kind of this nice nice chord, and then back to the C. So when I do that, it strings 4, 3, 2, 3, and then back to the C. Alright, so let me play through the whole thing slowly, and you'll have that version, and you can use this as a reference for in case you missed something. And obviously you could repeat that over and over again as many times as you want, and there's all kinds of other cool things you can do too. You can work in, blues licks or whatever to, to spice it up a little and put your own signature on it. But there you go. That's Amazing Grace played fingerstyle. Hopefully that wasn't too challenging for any of you, and hopefully I did a good job breaking it down. Well, that's it for this lesson. I hope you've enjoyed that. You can always find me online at www.activemelody.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/activemelody, or I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/activemelody. Well, we'll see you in the next lesson.